we've got Larry Holder with us from the Times-Picayune and NOLA.com, and let's talk about the Saints. They picked 15th in the first round. So I want you to put your Mickey Loomis hat on.
That might be dangerous.
Could be.
Okay.
Could be a little bit. But what player or players are you looking at with that 15?
I think you're obviously looking at defense. You can look at any spot on the field. I think they're looking at that side of the football with a critical eye, new defensive scheme. But for me, even though they went and signed Victor Butler, who I think is going to come in, and it's his job to lose as a starter, they could easily look at an LSU guy, say Barkevious Mingo. He keeps becoming a popular pick. Another player, Jarvis Jones, linebacker from Georgia. He has some issues. So, some people are higher on him than others. Also, Mingo, same thing. Some people are higher on him than others. You could also look at defensive end, defensive tackle. You could look all over the place. I wouldn't even count out safety. Kenny Vaccaro from Texas is someone who's probably the best playmaking safety in this draft field. So it could be any spot really on defense. That wouldn't surprise me.
So you're working in the 3-4 with Rob Ryan. We talked about a couple of names here, but is there a particular position that you would like to see the Saints go for?
I think linebacker still is a position that they're very uncertain about. Mm-hmm. You bring in Butler, but you're still wondering to see how Martez Wilson fits in. It seems like he could fit into the scheme, but you don't know. Is Junior Gillette really an outside linebacker in a 3-4 defense? I don't think they know that either. And so even during the owners' meetings a couple weeks ago in Phoenix, Sean Payton brought up two positions that keep him up at night, outside linebacker and left tackle. And so for me, if he's telling us that now, and yes, he signed someone, but you still have to find multiple players to play that position, I still think those are two spots, and specifically linebacker on defense is somewhere they're going to look.
Okay, so number 15 in the first round, you don't have a second-round pick. However, the Saints have been pretty good in those late-round choices, bringing in guys that fit the system. Right. Any names out there ring a bell with you?
For me, I know a lot of people are going to look at, again, LSU ties, and they want a playmaker. They're going to say Tyrann Mathieu maybe in the third round. He's starting to kind of prove himself to teams a little bit more lately. A guy I'm looking at, he's kind of an underrated guy, is named Brandon Williams. He's an interior lineman. He's from Missouri Southern. And he's been kind of on the radar as far as maybe a late second, early third for teams. Someone, again, not really a household name, but someone to look for there. And I think the Saints could use some depth, especially in the middle at nose tackle. He might be someone you could use as far as a versatile guy with Hicks and maybe with Bunkley, and try to figure out who can play those three down linemen in the 3-4 defense.
Well, depth is a good question. Let me ask you about that a little bit. Chase Daniel gone, the backup quarterback is gone. You got to do something at left tackle. There are those questions out there. Do you look to fill that through free agency still?
Interesting. I don't think there's anyone out there that they would break the bank. They can't break the bank because they're against the salary cap. They really can't go spend significant money. If they would have to restructure contracts under where they are right now. Probably they're going to look in-house at left tackle. Again, a spot I'm talking about, Charles Brown, maybe Marcel Jones. Maybe, and they could easily draft a guy, because you look at the tackles they've had in the past. They've used mid-round picks to get their tackles. Jermon Bushrod was a 4th-round pick. Zach Streep was a 7th-round pick. Charles Brown, yes, he's a 2nd-round pick, but they don't know what they have in him. So they could easily go get a left tackle, but I would anticipate when the market, it is what it is right now, and maybe they can get someone real cheap, a veteran guy. They want to bring in another body, but I think they could use either or both to bring in a guy at left tackle.
Now, when you look ahead at the 2013 schedule, you talked to Sean Payton out in Phoenix at the owners' meetings. He's been warning everybody, don't start printing Super Bowl T-shirts just yet. Just because I'm back, there's a lot of work left to be done. Second tough schedule in the NFL based on the 2012 schedule. Your prediction on how this ball club's going to do this season?
I think everyone predicts they're going to be better than 7-9. I agree. I think they're going to be 7-9, better than 7-9. Do I think they are one of the top teams in the NFC? I still think that remains to be seen. My colleague Mike Triplett put them at 5. I think that's about right. We still don't know what they look like defensively. I think offensively they will be better. Sean Payton will help that. The defense is obviously going to be the question mark, and I think until we see that, it's going to be tough to judge. But I'll just go out on a limb and say better than 7-9.
Okay. Final question for you. How much is this team going to miss Aaron Kromer?
I think it won't be. I think it will be slightly, but I think they brought in someone with Brett Ingles. It's kind of the same route they did once Aaron Kromer even took over the position. Doug Marrone, who's now the coach in Buffalo, when he left to go to Syracuse, they shifted Aaron Kromer in. They did the same thing with Brett Ingles, someone who has offensive line experience, and you got a veteran group of guys that are pretty cohesive, except for the left tackle. Again, that's ding, ding, ding again. That spot I keep bringing up, but Brett Ingles knows the system, knows the offense. It's probably better than bringing someone from the outside. I mean, Aaron Kromer, they knew he was going to be a coach somewhere else at some point, but by having a guy in house who knows the ins and outs and knows the personnel, I don't think there should be a major drop off there.
All right, our good friend Larry Holder, Times-Picayune, NOLA.com. Thank you so much as always for dropping by.